Hi, I am here with an Army veteran who served during the war. His name is Michael Corvo. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where and when were you born?
All right, I was born March 16th, 1962, in a small town called Whitensville, Massachusetts, which is located in the Blackstone Valley.
What did your parents do for a living?
My mom was a stay-home mom, and my father worked at Tupperware.
Did anyone in your family serve in the military?
Not direct family, but I had two uncles, one in the Army and one in the Air Force.
Did they influence your participation?
No, not really. They pretty much did the basic tour and then they got out. They didn't make a career out of it.
What were you doing before you entered the service?
Actually, I went in the service right out of high school, so before that I was just a student.
So did you know, while you were in high school that you were going to go into
I
the
did
Army?
not.
You didn't?
I
Were
did
you
not.
drafted?
I was not drafted. I just thought came to my mind. I figured I'd do, the minimum 6 years, and then by then I'd know what I want to do.
What year did you enter the war?
The war?
Yes.
All right, the war 2004, September of 2004.
In which branch of the military did
The
you
Army.
serve? The Army. How old were you? You were 18?
No, when I went to the war, I was like 42.
Okay. What was your motivation for participating in the war?
Not motivation, I was handpicked.
Oh, okay.
Because of my specialty, I was a logistics person. So they had a need for that and there wasn't many, so.
Do you recall your first days of the service? What did it feel like?
In the war.
Yes.
Yes, very lonely. Dropped off in the middle of the desert and learned to find out where I'm supposed to be and then work from there, so.
You had boot camp before that, right?
No boot camp when I first went in, but before the war we had a 2-week training in Texas.
Only 2 weeks?
Only 2 weeks.
Okay. So you didn't feel very prepared?
I was prepared, but it would have been nice to have a few more weeks.
What happened when you departed for training camp, or during the early days of training?
Just trying to get acclimated. It was all new people I was working with. We didn't go as a unit, we went as bits and pieces, so, I had to get to know everybody from the first time, so that was difficult.
Did you think that the war would last as long as it did, or did you expect an early and less complicated victory?
I would say I was hoping for a quicker, but I'm not surprised that it continued on.
Where did you serve and what was your job or assignment?
Okay, I served in a base called Taji. It was the largest Iraqi base in Iraq, and I was the deputy commander. My main focus was we lived with the Iraqis, and we were training them so that they could maintain the base on their own without any participation from the U.S. So I had a person that was the deputy on the Iraqi side that I worked with and tried to, teach him so that they could take over and we could leave.
Okay. Do you have a most memorable experience during the time in which you served?
The most memorable experience I had is when the Iraqis were allowed to vote for a president or leader, and after they voted they had to dip their finger in purple dye to record that they voted, and seeing them all in their vehicles leaving with the purple fingers meant a lot to us that they finally were able to vote, so that was crucial.
Did you suffer any injuries?
I have some hearing loss, a little bit of skin discoloration, and some acid reflux.
Do you know anybody in your unit that had severe casualties or?
No, we did lose 2 soldiers that I was with on convoys. Other than that, nothing significant.
Were you close with them?
No, they were at other bases. So I knew who they were, but they weren't close to me, so I can't say I really knew them.
Were you a prisoner of war? Did you know anybody who was captured?
No, in my era, there was none.
What kinds of friendships did you form while you were serving? Or did you form any?
Yeah, it's a family. You know, it's just like back home. These are the people you live with every day, and you depend on them.
Did you keep in contact with them?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know, I came back 2005, which was 10 years ago, and I still am in contact with some of my soldiers from that era, so. Once you're in, it's a group that never goes away.
How'd you stay in touch with your family while you were abroad?
Back in that time, it was by satellite phone, and it was very not often.
Did you ever write to each other?
Yeah, but writing the mail wasn't always dependable,
Yeah.
right? But the satellite phone, maybe once a month, you can make a call home.
What did you do for recreation or when you were off duty?
For recreation, soccer, because that was a big sport there, and then use the gym, do some walking.
Where were you when the war ended?
Well, the war, to me, hasn't really ended, but I stayed at that base the whole time until, you know, we left and another group replaced us.
How did you return home?
Well, we all returned home in a group. I returned to Providence, and getting off the plane, there was like hundreds of people waiting, so that was pretty good. Michael knows, he was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty good thing, yeah.
Did you easily readjust to civilian life?
Not easily. The first 2-3 months, it took some time, you know, not used to being back in, you know, being able to do things when you want, and, but not too bad. I adjusted pretty good. I didn't go right back to work, but, yeah, I'd say I did pretty well.
What have you done since separating from the military?
Since separating, I currently work at the VA in Providence, Rhode Island. I do lease contracts, and I'm involved a lot with the veterans, so I feel a close bond, and, you know, I think that's what lets me continue on with not much problems.
How did your wartime experiences affect your life?
Well, the most important thing is I appreciate everything that I have here now, because when I was there, I didn't have those things. And, you know, simple things like a shower every day here with hot water, I appreciate more now since I was there, because back then you were lucky if there was water to take a shower. So I would say that that's,
A life lesson that you
yeah, appreciate everything you have here, because not everyone has that.
How has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
Well, I don't think I would have been in the military. I was in for 33 years, so I think if it had a negative effect on me, I would have done the minimum and then got out. But because I really enjoyed it, I feel it was my calling to do it. So, you know, my family was affected because I wasn't home, but overall, I did enjoy it.
In your opinion, which president, Bush or Obama, do you believe did a better job in commanding the Army during wartime?
Well, I can only speak to Bush,
No.
because that's who was when I served, but I thought he was doing a good job.
If you could go back in time and choose to fight in the war again, would you?
Absolutely.
What message would you like to leave for future generations who will view or hear this interview?
I would say that the military is not for everyone. It's, you know, you have to give yourself to it, you know, 100%. You can't expect many thank yous. You're doing it because you want to, and you believe it's the right thing. And, you know, serving to me is why we all can do what we do back here in the States, so.
Is there anything you feel like we haven't discussed or should be added to this interview? So what?
You know, I've been to more than one war, and I would say that the communication home and the way you're treated and, you know, how they take care of you is better than when I first went to the second time. So, you know, they're making improvements. They make the tours shorter, which is key. So I think it's going good, yeah. And so the other war was the Operation Enduring Freedom, which was after Iraqi freedom. And that mission was, I went to Saudi Arabia. It was with the Department of State who was sponsoring us. I was a military person, but working for the Department of State. And what we were doing is helping the Saudi Arabians do better force protection of their critical sites, you know, water, oil, and stuff like that. And we were doing assessments of vulnerabilities and what we could do to improve it. So, and during that time, the living quarters were better. Communication, we then had Skype, so I could Skype home whenever I needed to, and it just was better overall. It wasn't as long. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. So, and again for that one I did the same thing. It was all logistics, working with the locals. I retired as a full bird colonel. Like I said, 33 years. I did try. I was hoping to get picked up for general, but I didn't get that far. But and the other thing too that I think made me go on for this long is because I originally went in as an enlisted soldier, so I did the basic training and everything, and only became an officer like 4 or 5 years later. And I think between the two of them, that was why I was able to stay in as long as I did. I received the Bronze Star while I was in Iraq, which is bravery and valor. It's one level above a Purple Star, the Purple Heart, I'm sorry, and it was, I pushed a general out of the way of incoming fire. This is a prayer rug that the Iraqis use to pray. Okay, and if you notice, it has the U.S. and Iraqi flag, and it says Operation Iraqi Freedom, Iraq, and in the times I was there, and some of the bases. So they gave me this as a token. When I came back, they gave this flag. Okay, every soldier that tours, and it. Back then I was a lieutenant colonel, and it was signed back then by Lieutenant General Hemley, who was the chief of the Army Reserves. So I actually have several of these. The group I went to was the 98th Division. They did like a yearbook. Of all the, yeah, you'll see there's a list of all the soldiers. The last one is a scrapbook that has Operation Iraq that my wife did from all the pictures that I. That was my orders. And then that's the uniform out there. I wore the boonie hat because it was more comfortable, but yeah, you know, she scrapped it all the way through.
Was your wife at home like during the war?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, that's try to get you a picture. Yeah, that's sort of where I was. You'll notice the barriers. That's when I got promoted to lieutenant colonel. So, then there's some of the vehicles that we gave the Iraqis. You can see the sun through the desert with the sand, that's what it looks like. This tank, believe it or not, is from Desert Storm. There was a graveyard there. You know, it's welcome home, the ribbons. The news. I didn't know the news was going to be there. They caught me by surprise. So when I came home, I wanted to see the green grass, and I was craving pizza. So they had a pizza party when I came home. So, you know. So that's about it.
Thank you so much for spending time with us and telling us about your experiences in war. We appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
talking.